You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another eye-opening, controversial, or maybe just calm episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
I, for one, am hoping for calm.
But that wouldn't get us any views, Rob.
That's right. But not boring. Calm doesn't have to mean boring. Anyways, my name's Rob. As usual, very, very excited that you are taking a few minutes out of your day to hang out with us. That means a lot to us every single time you do it. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well, we really mean that. Thank you. We're grateful for you. Without your support, probably wouldn't be here. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who supports the school and, all the comments we've been getting on Flight Mastery and the mapping class. Really excited. We're launching 2 new in-person classes this year in 2020. One will be with Vic Moss. He's going to have a traveling aerial photography class. Extremely excited about that.
Working real hard on the manual for that.
Yes, he sure is. And then also we're going to be launching our search and rescue class. It's the first class of our enterprise series, and it's also the first public safety based class that we'll be kind of putting out there. As many of you know, we've been talking about public safety for quite some time, even 3 years. Well, after really learning who to work with and trying to get the best information from the best resources, I feel like we're finally in a position to put out that course. So I've been doing some corporate espionage there, Rob. I've been figuring out what these best trainers of public safety are putting out there, and I'm pretty confident that I think what we're going to launch is just going to absolutely destroy the competition. So,
well, yeah, I mean, if we can raise the level, that's great.
oh, it's going to be raised. It's going to be raised real high.
I guess what I'm saying is that particularly in this realm of public safety, we just want to help everybody that's involved get better, right?
So yeah, let's clarify why we're so focused on competing against these other schools, agencies, associations, groups, whatever. Why am I so adamant about being the best? It's not for my ego. It is not to be the best. It's because most of those people who are doing the training really don't know what they're doing, and they're literally not teaching things that are absolutely vital and important. It's things that would help you avoid emergencies, and we're seeing more and more and more crashes. And there are very simple solutions to a lot of these crashes. And just like my lacrosse coach said, damn you, Coach Taylor, it always comes down, at least most of the times, to user error.
Yeah?
And he's like, is it really your stick broken, Paul? Or is it user error? And I'd be like,
racket, give me a new glove, give me a new ball, whatever. Anyways.
yeah, we always want to blame something else, but oftentimes
right.
It's ourselves that's really the issue. Anyway, the reason I'm so adamant about this is that we have come up with a very strict set of rules. Rules for landing, rules for takeoff, how to avoid a flyaway, training people in certain flight modes that way that they can handle any situation. But unless you've been in those situations, you don't know how important they are.
It's true.
So when we talk about leveling up, this is not just going to be a level up. Other people are going to have to buy Ferraris and race on the racetrack for a couple years to even contemplate how we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing. This is not a level up. This is a leap forward.
Yeah, we are really, really excited to be in a position to work with some great people to bring this out, to release this because of how it's going to help people.
For sure.
Ultimately around the world, hopefully.
For sure.
Right?
I mean, if you think about it, the public safety stuff we've been working on since we, worked with Buzz and Gabe over at Rancho Cucamonga Fire. And I did not want to disappoint them because they were like, we should talk about standard operating procedures. We should talk about this. We should offer that. And it just really made me think deeply about how much we didn't know. And I was like, I don't want to put something out yet. So, luckily with
3 years later,
3 years later, we have our class canvas. We have what resources we want to put out. We have all the classes based off of the type of department that you have, scaling operations. I mean, we've taken what was, we had someone else, and bless his heart, Keenan, who wanted to help us for a while. And unfortunately, things didn't work out. And we can't use his material because of that, which is okay. But we've taken what was like a 10-page outline, and now it's like, 100. So, yeah.
Very excited.
Devil's always in the details, Rob.
That's right. That's right.
And besides, now we get to compare standard operating procedures, and we get to work with people who are trusted, and we get to aggregate that data and mastermind, and we have the resources to put it in action.
Yes, it's going to be great. Very excited about that. So that will be coming, and let your
I don't know why we talked
contacts
about
know.
that. Why
I do not remember what got us on that, but you know what?
New classes that we launched. Bingo.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Anyways, you mentioned crashes earlier, Paul. I'm going to move this thing along.
All right, I'm sorry, Rob.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. If you've crashed your drone, though, I do want to tell you about Fortress UAV.
Hey, guess what, Rob? I crashed just last week.
I'm pretty sure you crashed my new drone. At least what we're calling my new drone. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Oh, man.
I am starting to see a pattern here.
Actually, this is a good learning opportunity here. I filed my Lance authorization for only to fly for 9 minutes, and I only flew for 8 minutes, and I crashed at 7 minutes and 30 seconds into the flight. And I just thought to myself, what if I had just blown off Lance like most people do? I wouldn't have been able to claim the drone on the insurance. Now, I'm still probably not going to claim on the insurance, frankly.
But at least there's the option if need be.
Bingo.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways.
Sorry to get you off track.
No. I'm just a little saddened by drone number 2 of Rob's that Paul crashes and pretty much puts out of commission. No, we don't know that yet. But anyways.
It is not out of commission.
I know. Well, we haven't seen it fly since you crashed it.
Well, then go get some props and let's do this thing.
I think we might have to. Anyways, Fortress UAV guys, they're doing drone repair as it should be done. What I like about them is they're as transparent as possible. They want to let you know everything that they're thinking in relation to what they think needs to be done to your drone. Of course, they won't make any repairs until they've talked to you about that. They'll do their very best to get your drone back up in the air, whether it's a software issue, a hardware issue, something's broken. You know, sometimes things take a little bit longer. That's usually because of the manufacturers not getting them the stuff that they need in a timely manner. But anyways, go to fortressuav.com/droneu and use the promo code, all caps, DRONEU for 25% off of the diagnostic fee. And I'm pretty sure they're still going to give you 5% off the repair fee as well if you're a DRONEU member. You just need to let them know that you are. Check them out, and you'll be glad that you did.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Aaron out here in Hawaii with Island Forged. My question is for Paul. In one of your recent videos about bartering, you had mentioned that you were a beast at HDRs and HDR panos. I was just hoping you could give us some tips and tricks on how you go about getting these high-quality images and some things that we can do other than just auto exposure bracketing and then merging them together in Lightroom. Thanks a lot for everything you guys do. I look forward to hearing your answer, and have a great day.
Thank you, Aaron. I think you've touched on something that Paul would love to talk about. And I know it's something, you spend a lot of time on this stuff, like into the wee hours of the night working on these things. Trying to make them great.
I actually... Other than subject tracking videos, panos have to be probably my favorite thing.
We've got them all over the office.
Yeah.
Actually.
The proof is in the pudding, Rob. But actually, if you ever come to the DroneU training headquarters, the training center here in New Mexico, you walk into the lobby and off to the right, you will see a pano of St. Pete Beach, Florida, where my dad used to have some property and lots of good memories there. And I love panos, frankly. I've got a pano of Jurassic Park. I've got a pano of Warm Creek Bay.
Very cool, and of Albuquerque.
Yes, I've got a couple of Albuquerque. I've got, you know what's funny? You just brought up something. I got to get something done because there's a hotel that wants to buy 300 copies of that pano. So thanks for that reminder.
Sure. That's what I'm here for.
Sorry, I was just like, oh crap, I haven't done that yet. So lots going on here. I love panos, and a lot of people typically just utilize the pano option in DJI. I'm not typically a fan of that because of how it shoots the panos. It starts in the middle, goes up to the right, and then goes to the left. So it's kind of confusing sometimes about where you're shooting panos. As most of you know, I'm a staunch advocate of knowing the systems that you're working within, meaning if you're flying a drone, you should know photography, you should know the electronics, you should know camera sensors. That way, if something goes bad, you'll know how to fix it. Well, anyway, long story short is I really like to shoot, he said, can you go into more detail than just auto exposure bracketing and using Lightroom? Well, one trick that Vic does is instead of I shoot an AEB 3 shot. Vic always shoots a 5. So he likes to get a little bit more contrast, and I should probably do that myself.
Does that mean more work for him in post?
It does, yes. Yeah. And sometimes Vic will actually just take 2 images or 1 even and just edit that. I'm a staunch advocate of the stacking. I love stacking. So that means when you take the 5 images and you literally merge them together into one image.
Now, do you edit them before you merge them or after you merge them?
Typically after I merge them.
Okay.
So now here's the thing. Well, we just skipped like 100 steps. So hold on one second.
Sorry.
So I was getting into one of the key points that what Vic really likes to do. So one thing that Vic really likes to do is obviously we're always shooting in RAW. So let's just take a couple steps back. Shoot in RAW. If you want to use the auto feature, that's fine. Look at auto, but notice the exposure. Okay. Notice the ISO and notice exposure, ISO, and shutter speed. And then go into manual and set up that shutter speed and everything you just saw auto doing. And what I like to do is typically play with the shutter speed to see if I can get a little bit better looking image. I'll play with the shutter speed first, and then I'll play with exposure because typically you can get a little bit better of an image, a base image, than just using the auto feature. But what Vic does is he'll go into manual and he'll shoot single images, maybe not always AEB. He'll shoot a single image, and then he'll just take the exposure value down 2 steps. Shoot another image, and then go up 2 steps and shoot another image.
So to do something like that, you've got to have it on a tripod or something, so you're getting the exact same.
We're talking about on a drone here.
How do you know you get the same image?
It shows on your screen. I mean...
But there is some...
You get a little ghosting.
You're trusting your eyes a little bit.
Sure, you get a little ghosting, but you got to be in GPS mode, or if you're flying Skydio, you got to be in... autonomy mode, but that's all the time, so you don't have to really worry about it.
Cool.
I did see more ghosting in these. Actually, I have an image, dude. Look at this.
Well, they do call these tripod in the sky, right?
They do. Hold
Drones,
on.
that is, not just Skydio.
Oh man, I have. There it is. Where is that? I have a Skydio. Ooh, that came out not as much as I would have
It's not
liked.
real sharp.
It's not, and the reason is the ghosting, because this drone was moving a little bit more, and I think it's because of altitude than what I was used to, but I also think it's low light, because they say Skydio is not good in low light, and I think that was the issue. I will say, as far as the dynamic range is concerned of that image, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
So I was really happy. But anyway, going back to what Vic does, the reason that he shoots those raw images with the main setup and then drops down 2 steps of exposure is because DJI's auto exposure bracketing only takes an image 2/3 of a step down and up instead of a full step or 2 steps or 3 steps.
Okay.
Typically on a Canon or a Sony camera, it's a full step. So that's why he's like, yeah, sometimes I just take it a full step down and take the image myself. As far as the workflow is concerned, his workflow is different from mine. He utilizes Capture One and Aurora HDR. If you guys haven't checked out Aurora HDR, there's some really cool features for Aurora HDR. If you ever run into a day when there's not a beautiful skyline or a beautiful sunset, there's solutions for that. In fact, like pro hack, how do you upsell every realtor on every single job that you do every single day? And we all know there's not beautiful sunsets every single day. It's Aurora HDR. So, life hack. You're welcome. Anyway, you just pretty much replace the sky, and you're good.
Anything with technology nowadays.
Yeah. You should not believe anything you see on the internet.
So true. so true. Not unless you took the picture.
That's right. So it's also a good reason as to why we shouldn't jump down people's throats when we think they took an illegal image. It may have been legal. So anyway, long story short is he uses Capture One. He loves Capture One. I think it's a much better program than Photoshop or Lightroom. I just don't want to relearn a program, and I don't want to spend more money. So for me, it's just not worth it until I go full frame all the time. Now, my workflow is very simple. I take a 3-stack AEB and I will shoot like one image to the left, yaw the aircraft just slightly so I still have about 70% of the original image in the next image.
That
Okay?
much, okay.
And then yaw to the right again, and again, 70% overlap, and again, and again. That photo of St. Pete Beach, Florida was 21 images.
Wow.
So what I do is I'll take the AEB and I'll stack it together. I'll apply the lens correction and do I think I do let Lightroom do auto tuning because it pretty much does what I would start with, which is just, rack down the highlights, increase the shadows, but not too much, increase the whites a little bit, balance that out with a little bit of blacks, meaning you take that slider and make the blacks a little bit darker. And then what I do is after I've stacked each individual image, then I will tell Lightroom, take this stacked image, this one, and this one, and now merge it into a pano. I will say, in playing with this feature, I found a very interesting nuance between Photoshop and Lightroom that I've never seen before, which is when I stack the images together and then create the pano, if I export the pano as a DNG file, for whatever reason, I seem to be able to move my highlights and shadows a lot more and get a much crispier image when I then do my final editing through Photoshop instead of Lightroom. And I don't really know why.
Interesting.
I have no idea why. So that's pretty much my workflow. Now, it takes me about 30 to 45 minutes to make a single pano. But if you remember
From beginning to end?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem bad.
Well, I mean, for me, that's a lot when you're doing, like, I throw panos in for my clients too. So
Oh, all right.
that's a lot of work for, anyway.
But that's a pretty efficient, quick 30 to 45 minutes too, I'm sure. It's like
Oh,
boom,
yeah.
boom,
I mean,
boom,
I have
boom,
it
boom,
down
boom,
to a
boom.
system, import into Lightroom, auto stack by capture time, stack, merge into Pano, and then export into Photoshop via Bridge, and then start doing my adjustments. And then I do that classic Vic, create a duplicate layer of the first layer and utilize, so it's Command A, Command C, Command V, Command M. So Command A is copying the whole image, or A is selecting everything, C is copying it, V is posting the new layer, and then M is pulling up the levels. So I adjust all the levels and then mask out what I don't want. So when I mean adjust the levels, like I'll make the brightness higher,
Okay.
but I don't want the sky to be brighter, so I'll create a mask and then remove everything that was brighter in the sky, like almost painting over it. Okay. And then I'll hit Command E, merge those layers together, and then I'll go super dark on the levels. So bring the colors far down, but then I make a mask and I mask over the bottom or the foreground of the image so that even though I made the sky darker and you have more dynamic range, you did not inhibit all of this down here. So you don't,
all that detail.
Exactly. You don't squash your shadows.
Right.
So that's pretty much the formula that I use, and I think I learned it from Vic. So, I mean, we all learn from each other, right? So, that being said, but Vic makes a really good point. And by the way, you should really check out his aerial photography class. This year, Vic spent a lot of time here at the studio, and we have a comprehensive aerial photography course, and it also includes a nighttime operations bit, which I think is really important for everyone to see. And I say this because while I'm explaining, over the podcast what to do, it's kind of difficult unless you're seeing it. So I would really recommend that everyone check out Vic's comprehensive aerial photography class. If you're a member, it's free. It's just another class that we added into the library, and you get it for free. The only problem with this, though, Rob, is that we've been adding so many damn classes that people don't know what's new. So that's why I'm taking the time right now to take Vic's class. Because Vic, and I'd like to end the show on this unless you have more to add to it.
Nope. You're right.
Vic says in the class, it's not the photos that you take that are going to win you clients. It's what you do after that's going to not only keep the clients, but keep them coming back. And that's what separates you from the crowd. in the competition. And if you're ready to step your game up, because if you're like me, then you know that there's always something more that you can learn to better yourself. Not because we've learned it all, but because we're humans. And in 3 years, we could forget what we learned 4 years ago. So with that said, it takes a little humility to understand that, but sooner you do it, in my opinion, the sooner that I did it, the better I've become, and I'm still working on myself, and I have a long way to go. But I think if you're ready to step your game up and you're ready to keep those clients and not have to worry about them going to your competition, then it's all about building relationships and having the best quality product. And if you're ready to do those two things and learn how to do those things better, then I think you should become a member. So that's it.
Yeah, we'd love to invite you into the family. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. So my name is Paul.
My name's Rob.
This is Ask Drone U.